Today, Michelle is here with us, and she's here to share her experience as a mother of 2 children with dyslexia. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, thanks, goodbye. I'm a mother of 3, and like you mentioned, 2 of my kids are dyslexic. The early signs that we noticed were really before they even started school. They'd have trouble with learning their alphabet or how to spell their name. Retention was a big issue. We'd spend, a lot of time trying to learn the letter A, and the next day it's like, never saw it before. They got into school, there was a lot of issues with, they struggled with letter recognition, organization. They were constantly losing homework or forgetting to bring home forms from school. When my daughter was started school then, my daughter Courtney is the oldest, and she then had trouble with letter recognition, and it was obvious she was behind in her peers. Before we really knew what was going on, I thought maybe it was just because she hadn't gone to kindergarten or preschool like a lot of the other kids had. She was, while the other kids were writing sentences, she was still, trying to learn her alphabet. When I went to Parents' Day in 1st grade, I noticed the whole class is, taking turns reading from a caption on the board, and so the other kids were reading words like playground, and my daughter was still struggling over 3-letter words. So it was, I knew something was wrong. When I tried to talk to the teachers about the concerns, they said at that age it's really still kind of early to tell, and a lot of kids still struggle with letter switching letters and stuff. So they just suggested that just wait and see if it turns around. By the time she got in 2nd grade, it was obvious that the gap was getting worse. She had a really good teacher that I think did recognize that there was definitely a difference for her. She did say that when they were in a class discussion, if they're all down on the mats, talking about things, that she was able to keep up with the rest of the class, and she did really well, and she could answer the questions correctly, to the point where the other kids, she said, really wouldn't even have a clue that she was struggling. It's when she was at her desk by herself, trying to transfer ideas from her head to the paper, that's when she was really challenged. Homework was really a challenge, too, at home at night. She was really easily frustrated. Sometimes there was tears, I think from both of us. She'd ask me, am I ever going to learn how to read? And we probably spent hours on homework that was meant to take 20 minutes. Spelling tests were the worst, like you mentioned, that we'd spend all week working on the spelling tests and trying to come up with little clues and ways to help her remember. And the night before, it would seem like she had them down, and only to go to school the next day and get almost every single one wrong. It does carry over into math as well. She I think as an adult even, she still doesn't have her multiplication tables memorized. And one time she did an entire long subtraction, a homework page, subtracting in the wrong direction, going left to right instead of right to left. When we finally got her tested for special ed, she didn't qualify. I still remember the principal saying, well, she just seems to be working at her ability level. And I just remember thinking, no way, I know my daughter's smarter than that. Eventually, we were able to find an outside source to test her and confirm her dyslexia. About that same time, my son, Keikoa, who's younger, was starting school. So we did kind of notice some of the same things for him early on, like he held his pencil the same funny way. But he was also what they always referred to as a late born. He was only 4 1/2 when he started, so some of the kids in his class were a year older than him, and developmentally it was kind of, would make sense that he wasn't keeping up with everybody else completely. So again, it was kind of the wait and see how it comes around. But eventually he was confirmed as dyslexic as well. My daughter was always a really hard worker, and she loved to read. I never understood why, because it was such a struggle for her. My son, on the other hand, was the exact opposite. He really didn't care that much, and he would rather just avoid the work, I think. I think, it's common for dyslexics to be perceived as lazy, and I'm sure that that's probably what some of his teachers and others who were working with him believed. Luckily, I was already recognizing the signs that I'd seen in my daughter, so I knew it was something else and not laziness. As a parent, you just have to really trust your instincts. I think about, if I hadn't kept pushing for my children, I can only imagine what kind of limits that would have put on their potential. My daughter recently graduated from college with a bachelor's in business administration, and I just think, that probably never would have happened had I just accepted what they told me when they said she's just working at her ability level.